The so-called independence that most African countries got in the 60s turned out to be a sham. Colonialism simply gave way to neo-colonialism, and for this, the imperialists needed house Negroes to run affairs. Let's have a look at 4 plantation managers that were installed at the supposed gaining of independence by African states. First up is the Senegalese president, Léopold Senghor, who governed from 1960 to 1980. The fact that he was the first African to be admitted into the French Academy speaks volumes. He is accused of placing French interests above his country's, even moving to Europe once his leadership tenure had expired. He kept French government officials and justified this by stating that the Senegalese were uneducated, but made no effort towards training his countrymen. The Senegalese remained second-class citizens as all trade and industry was in the hands of the French. Average income fell, external debt rose from $98 million in 1970 to $738 million in 1979. It turned Senegal into a country of beggars, with aid accounting for 13% of the country's GDP. The DRC, with $24 trillion in mineral resources, has been plagued by instability, mostly stirred up by interests keen to loot its wealth. The looting will, however, not be possible without the help of greedy, self-interested Africans, such as Mobutu Sese Seko. In what is sometimes dubbed Africa's original sin, Mobutu, under the direction of the CIA, Belgium and Britain, allegedly had Pan-African icon and Congolese independence leader Patrice Lumumba assassinated. He clung on to power for 32 years and proved a useful puppet for the West. Washington used the DRC as a weapon supply and staging area for anti-communist campaigns in Central and Southern Africa. For example, Mobutu, acting with strong CIA encouragement, assisted rebel movement fighting Angola's Marxist government, including the disastrous CIA-backed effort to seize Angola's oil-producing Cabinda enclave. In exchange for subservience to the West, he got free reign over the country's coffers. He siphoned a suspected 28% of DRC's expenditure in 1972. In comparison, agriculture and social services received 29.3% and 17.5% of the national cake, respectively. In 1978, he instructed the state-owned copper miner, Geka Mines, to deposit its entire export earnings, which by 1989 had reached $1.2 billion into a presidential account. Mobutu had amassed $3.2 billion in personal wealth by 1982. While Africans in South Africa were fighting against the country's apartheid regime, Malawi's President Hastings Banda maintained warm relations with the racists in charge in Pretoria and Rhodesia. He went against the rest of the continent, calling boycotts of South Africa unrealistic. He lobbied the apartheid government for $25 million in financing for the construction of the capital Lilongwe. Upon independence, Banda steered clear of nationalization and depended on the expertise and capital of colonial settlers that chose to remain. What better way to wrap this list up than by shining the spotlight on Kenya's founding father, Jomo Kenyatta. Upon independence, he assured settlers that they won't be dispossessed of the land they occupied. This was in sharp contrast to and a betrayal of what the Kenya Land and Freedom Army fought for, namely land. He received millions of pounds in loans from the British government to purchase land from settlers on condition they wanted to sell. Instead of redistributing the land to previously violently displaced natives, he used it as political patronage, rewards for people in his circle and tribe. As a result, even today, a significant portion of Kenya's land is in foreign control. For example, conservancies control close to 10% of Kenya's total land area. Multinational corporations sit on thousands of acres of tea farms, and there are still a large number of settlers who chose to remain. The Kenyatta family also has the equivalent of a province in land size in their name. Of course, these aren't the only African leaders who sold out the motherland. Tell us in the comments who else you think should have made the cut.